We can start. And we are on! Welcome, everybody, to another round of the Souls Roundtable. I am your host, Old Hunter, and I do reviews and Reddit reads. I currently have another Reddit read out if you're interested. And I am joined by my two co-hosts, as usual.
Hi.
Introduction, guys, as usual.
I think people are lagging out. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, we had a technical issue there. So my name is Darc Soul. I'm a voice actor who does Dark Souls comic dubs and other VA stuff, and I'm happy to be here, joined by my other friend.
Hello, I'm the Knight of Green. I'm a historical European and fictional martial artist. Someone who critiques the martial arts of Dark Souls while recreating in real life, as well as I'm creating animated parody and martial arts series based on Demon Souls called Demon Slice.
And today we have a special guest who is happy enough to take some time out of his schedule to join us on our podcast. Greetings, Emmeline. I have a hard time pronouncing it. Why don't you say it so I don't...
It's Emmeline.
Emmeline.
You're good.
And he's on today with a special... an interesting topic, I'd say, for my podcast. Would you like to explain it, since you can do it better than I can?
Well, hello, everyone. Well, I've noticed that Dark Souls is sort of retelling a story that I grew up on, and it's called Saint Seiya. It's an anime from 1986, and, well... And we're sort of hitting the same story beats all over the place, and it's the same sort of setup, so it answers a lot of questions that people have been asking over the years.
Ooh.
So, if it would be so kind, would you like to show us the points that you like to talk about? And we'd happily listen, and we'd probably have some questions.
Very well. I'll jump into it.
I think there's some lag spike that just happened.
You're gonna expect that, so don't worry.
Oh, I can't. Hang
on. This also encompasses the other Dark Souls games, or just strictly Dark Souls 1?
Yes, that is actually
all three of them.
All three of them.
Okay.
Oh.
It has it follows the how to put this. In the first game, it uses the sort of the main structure of the first two arcs, I'd say. The first two really big story arcs, which are Sanctuary and Asgard, to tell its story. But it uses the rest of the story to attach pieces all along the sides, so you're actually you can only actually really see it when you've watched the whole thing, because there's parts of the final arc that are already in the first game.
If I may ask a quick question, for those who do not know what Saint Seiya is, and I'm definitely in that boat, I didn't watch it when I was a kid, I'm sorry, would you possibly give a brief synopsis on what Saint Seiya is about? For those who probably don't know about it like I do, it would be a good start.
Yeah. So Saint Seiya is about the Saints of Athena. Athena resurrects every 200 years or so to protect the world from the forces of evil. And the Saints are the humans that kind of fight alongside of her to make sure that she can actually do this. Now, by forces of evil, they're actually most of the time referring to the other gods just trying to get more power, like Poseidon or Hades or any one of them.
So it uses Greek mythology to tell its story. I've always been
Greek mythology, Norse mythology. There's also Buddhism in there, and a little bit of Egyptian mythology too.
so it takes so it takes a whole host of different mythologies from mostly from the Western Hemisphere, such as Greek, Norse, I take it Roman and Egyptian as well. And
yeah,
interesting. That's an actually interesting show. So
there's also
go on.
Yeah, there's also one non-canon movie where they fight Lucifer, so they even go for Christian religion.
Christianity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's Japan. It's Japan. I would. I'm not. I wouldn't be. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's Japan. But I do have.
But definitely on that point that you said that the forces will, quote unquote, in quotations, as there are influence of other gods and goddesses. So basically, the forces of evil are not really evil; they're just from their side or their perspective. The enemy, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Basically, every time the gods try to do this, they pretty much make all the humans suffer. And Athena's thing is like, no, we're not gonna make the humans suffer. We're gonna let them live their lives in peace.
Oh, so Athena's like the most peaceable of like the deities. Basically, everyone else is kind of like.
An interesting interesting because in her original mythology, Athena was a goddess of war. Not
yes, but the strategic kind, I thought.
Strategic, yeah, I was about to say not like brute bloodshed like Ares, more so like strategy and decorum, that type of thing.
So
more of a righteous type of war than where Ares got the whole "I'm the bloody crazy guy that wants to kill everyone."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, what are the connections that you thought that Dark Souls and Saint Seiya have? Not that they're connected, but in the sense that the similarities you've seen from the two franchises.
So we already established now that there's sort of a cycle of rebirth of the gods where they just keep coming back, and it just keeps rolling that way. We've got the protector goddess at the top of a holy city that's protected by golden saints, which is golden knights. And then when we get to the lion saint's house in particular, his attacks are all based on lightning. You've got like his lightning roar and lightning plasma, which is also a really funny one because that already ties it to the sun by making it plasma.
Plasma based, yeah.
Yeah, plasma based. Interesting. Yeah, that is actually interesting. Your thoughts, Darc? Where are you? Darc?
Had you lagged out?
I think he lagged out again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, I was just. Oh, okay. I was just going to ask, what's your thoughts on this?
Sorry, I'm doing something really quick.
I guess I'll buy Darc some time. I can see like a lot of the parallels between some of like the covenants that are associated with Anor Londo. So like the Warriors of Sunlight. We're the ones that work with Guinevere, like the princess. They're not called the Princess Guard, but the ones that work with like Guinevere. Is there any like for question? Is there any for like Apollo and Artemis? Because like I feel like that might also like feel that connection between like the Dark Moon and like Gwendolyn
Artemis is indeed part of it, and she is a part of Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is sort of a mix of three characters, is as far as I've been able to nail them down so far.
Mm-hmm.
The first one would be the Pope, which is he tried to take over Sanctuary from Athena by killing her as a baby. One of the Gold Saints saved her and ran off with her, and took one of her relics with him so that the guy couldn't take full power of the Sanctuary at that time.
Interesting.
And the first story is sort of them getting back to Sanctuary and taking control of the city again from him. And there's a whole mystery about who it is and stuff like that. But a big section of Gwendolyn seems to come from that, like with his illusionary tunnel and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the moon and his golden bow and the snakes. Now we immediately can start getting Artemis references like crazy.
Yeah.
And the way that they seem to be placed together doesn't actually cause much of a problem because they kind of do the same thing in the show. They both take over Athena's holy city in their own way, and they start actually using it as their holy city from then on.
Did Artemis like create like a ruse or like a fake version of Athena for people to sort of worship and like cobble to?
No, but the Pope did.
Okay. So it's starting to sound like some Pontiff Sullivan.
It does sound like he sounds more like Pontiff Sullivan, the guy that. Well, in truth be told, I do not think there's a part in Saint Seiya where Pontiff fed Gwendolyn, where the Pope fed Athena to another god, like what Pontiff did to Gwendolyn to feed to Aldrich, unless that was a thing in Saint Seiya.
Something that comes very, very close to that.
Oh, do tell. Why am I should be a clairvoyant sometimes.
So the way Pontiff is set up is he's actually sort of using the power of the Grave Lord of Aldrich to suit his own goals. And there's a whole chapter in Poseidon where one of the generals of Poseidon is actually using Poseidon to further his plan. He's keeping the real Poseidon asleep inside of his vessel and making the vessel think he's in control while he's actually running the show.
This is what reminds me of
the gods have to sort of resurrect using human vessels the entire time.
See, I'm not for sure how this ties with not very sure, but like the parallels I'm seeing. I know Aldrich had like a little vessel in the cathedral, not like a human vessel, but like an object that sort of had his tomb, and also he's also has like a tie to like an abyssal sea. So it's interesting. That's like the sort of little nod to that.
I think
the place we find the fat friar in the water, the aqueduct.
You mean the deacon?
That's also a nod to Poseidon. Yes, the deacon. It's also a nod to Poseidon because that's what he tried to do to Athena. He put her in a pillar and started filling it with water. And if she died in the pillar by drowning, the pillar would take on her strength or something like that. Like the building would gain her strength and cosmos and would become indestructible or something like that.
So it's kind of the idea. So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's like the idea that Aldrich gained power from devouring everything and anything that was living, such as mortals and anything in between, mostly mortals. It's sort of like that, like how a lot of the deacons ate, because I always thought, because like all the deacons were very large, because I always thought they were like trying to, and I think Vadi said this, was emulating Aldrich's idea. He ate a lot and gained a lot.
Things.
Yeah, eat a lot. Yep. He ate a lot of things to gain power.
Yes, pretty much.
So I do have one question. This will probably be like sort of the nail in the coffin of determining how the similarities. Is there any parallels to humanity and sort of being like a representation of like the antithesis of the gods, sort of like the abyss and the dark is sort of there might be subgroups that are fighting against the reigns of the gods to be like, no more. We want to have a world which is basically atheist.
Yes.
Ooh.
There's complete things like that. Now, one thing that will become apparent if you watch the show is that all the dark things are actually all tied to Nito, because Nito is playing out the Hades plot where he puts his real body away at the end of the underworld, so it can't get hurt. It's in a coffin. It's sealed away. And his soul gets put in other bodies, exactly like demon possession, because Athena does the nice thing where she's completely reborn. She gets a new body and grows up in it. He just goes, I like that body. It's mine now. And his specters pretty much work the same way that the Dark Wraiths do, and are. And if you work for one god, you are automatically blaspheming against another one of the gods because, well, their plans don't align. So you automatically went against the god by working for another god.
But that reminds me of, what was it, Dark Souls 2, the Covenant system with the different seals of the different gods.
I think
I want to join.
I think it's closer to Dark Souls 1 because there's actually penalty. I don't think in Dark Souls 2
penalties.
There were penalties.
There wasn't really much penalties, yeah.
2 and 3.
Dark Souls 1 had.
Yeah, Dark Souls
before
1.
The remake.
Yeah, before. No, really?
Yeah, the remake removed a lot of the penalties that you would have for switching covenants because you can just switch them at the bonfire.
I know that part. I know that part, but I didn't think they'd remove that part. I thought the point of the whole covenant thing was that it's that if I swapped from the Warriors of Sunlight to the Dark Moon, I'd lose like half of my rewards.
I believe that still happens if you're like, for example, if you're like you lose half the rewards to the next level, but if you still would like to start at a level, then you won't lose any of that. I believe.
Yeah.
I'll look back into that. It's been a while since I played Dark Souls Remaster. I'm sorry.
That's no worries. It's been a while since I played it. I might have to get back into it for a little bit. Anyway,
the online community's not there anymore. Or maybe they are. It's just not on PlayStation.
Anyway, continue on. Feel free to continue.
Where was I? Oh, yeah. Well, the Dark Graves in the Dark and the Punishment. Right. But when we get to the Abyss parts, that is something that gets... they use the exact same words in Saints and show you quite literally like a giant hole where you see all... sort of like brain-dead human souls walking into it to fall into Hades. That's like the entrance to the underworld for everyone, every person on the planet, and it's described the same way as the Abyss, and it looks like the Abyss.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Definitely. Where could you access this anime? I definitely want to check it out to see what I can pull from it.
Sadly,
it's hard to find at this point. I have.
Are you talking about the original?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the original Saint Seiya anime?
Yes, the one from 1986. Easy to find.
Oh, that actually. Now that I would have actually reviewed that. Now thinking about it, it might have actually been an interesting review.
I know a place to find it, but
I can only do it later. I have to do it.
It's not exactly legal.
I can't do it then. I have this rule in myself that I keep to myself and make sure to do it. Is that unless it was legal, I will not review it. That's why I have.
I own all the videos, so I feel like I have kind of the right to do it because I have the series at some point.
Streaming party for watching it. Does anyone want to do that anytime soon?
If I do that on my podcast, I'm gonna get copyright strikes up in the ass. Because
not on the podcast. Yeah. I mean, like outside of the podcast, or like get on Discord, stream it, watch it, and then come together and like review that way. I mean, I know it's probably gonna be a lot of. Because how many episodes is it, or how many seasons is it?
I think it's over 200.
It's 260 or something in total.
Oh no! I cannot review it then because I have a limit of how much a series can have to review. If you're not interested,
what?
Darc, I don't think Darc's very interested in this subject today.
No, I'm just waiting to talk.
Well, feel free to talk.
Oh, okay. Oh, go.
No, you continue.
No, go, Darc.
No, I'm interested in listening. Go ahead and talk.
If you want to review a shorter one, a sort of side series of it that came, it's partially based on Dark Souls 1. You could go for Souls of Gold. It's sort of a side story of the main story, and it's only 13 episodes.
If I do that won't work either. The problem is that because I need to understand. I will not understand the characters. I will not understand the plot. And even though,
unless
I understand the full thing, and that's where. So it's unless I watch the first part, I don't normally do side content because I want to mainly focus. I want to focus mainly on the first one. But continue on. And Darc, please speak up if you have anything to say. And if you want to say something, please say it. You can interrupt the both of us.
I guess he doesn't.
Anyway, you were continuing?
Yeah, where were we?
There's found Nito is supposed to be like the Abyss representation. Does he have like a lot? I'm guessing he has a lot of connection with humans and death. Well, I mean,
yes.
so
the way they just give us Nito like being the first one to enter the underworld is also something that is a kind of a direct Hades reference, because he is the first one to enter the underworld in Greek mythology.
Well,
he's the first one to go there, so technically he's the first thing to die.
Right.
and Nito is technically the first of the dead, if my lore is correct.
Yeah.
Among the dead as well, so it's already like he's the king of that kingdom. Not specifically making him death itself, because that's Thanatos, and he also has a part to play in this, but it's a smaller part than Hades himself.
I'm curious.
Hades is the big boy.
I'm curious. What is the reference, like, in the Soul series, like, it's the Seiya series in your hypothesis. What is, like, the connection between humans and, not that one. What's the, what do humans play in this in the world, comparing the two?
You said that they give, like, allegiance or, they worship gods and that gives them power or influence in the world?
So most of it's set up like our world. It takes place, the original series, in the 80s of our world, but you just have to figure that these holy wars have been going on in the background, because that's how it's pretty much said. They're holy wars and they happen every couple of centuries, and most people don't seem to be aware of it.
So the things that are happening that we don't know about type of setup.
Yeah, we just get a natural catastrophe and we have no idea why it happened, and half the population's gone. Like when Poseidon comes back, he starts drowning half the planet with the oceans. So it's just like, well, the oceans are rising. We have no clue why.
Well, but I feel like if half of the world died, I feel like that would be a bigger headline than just like the world's flooding again.
But yeah, we don't get the explanations, but the gods are still doing this, and then certain groups of people do know about this, and they like the way these saints are chosen is because that golden saint that ran off with the baby Athena found a dude, gave her to him, and gave him orders to do all this. That man was extremely rich, started looking into it, and gathered a whole bunch of orphans to send off to go do these trainings to get these armors and be able to actually protect her when the time comes.
Huh. Interesting.
Any thoughts, Darc?
And they really have to go through some crazy stuff to get their armors. Like, one of them gets the Andromeda armor. His test is pretty much, we're going to tie you up to these rocks. The ocean's going to come up, and don't drown.
Hold up. How's that a test? It's sort of like a...
Well, if he uses this, like the MacGuffin of the series, it's the cosmos. It's the energy source in their bodies that they can use to perform miracles. Then you can drowning, and they all have to sort of learn to use that power source. There's a whole bunch of the story that's devoted to them learning about the power source and, becoming more accustomed to using it. It's not so much like in the other shonen animes where they get stronger every time. It's more like they start understanding more of the power they actually held from the beginning.
But it's not like they get infinitely stronger Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan times.
No. There's the movies have a lot of those. The hero Arise gets a power up and wins, but the main show actually stays away from it.
Oh, nice. So, but my question is, does this show have any connections to Elden Ring?
I'd have to know about Elden Ring first.
Is it coming? Do we think that we're going to get another trailer soon? Does anyone think that?
Darc, you think anything?
Maybe.
Darc, come on. Darc.
Is he okay?
I think he's AFK right now.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Anyway, Darc, why don't you speak up for a little bit? Like, honestly, what do you think about? Emlyn, could you close that for a second? I think.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. I'll definitely see if I can find like reviews or like abridged notes on it.
That was a very interesting dissection on the two series, and we can actually, now that we've actually cut the portion, now that we have, how do I say this? We have any Darc, you're good with words. Any words? Any advice?
I don't know what advice you want me to give.
Like what? Come on! Like we've cut the. You're a little bit on the side. Your camera's like my head is right now. Like your camera.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your camera is horizontal, not diagonal. Yeah, that's better. For a second, I thought I had to basically go like this for the whole review just to make sure that you and I have the same face. But I gotta ask you, Darc, do you think we'll be getting an Elden Ring this E3?
Most likely, yes, but it'll still take time. Considering with game development, I would say they want to take it very slowly, and they want to reveal like little secrets as possible, but not too much, so they can give it away for like anyone that's interested in lore. Like I would say, Emlyn and I to like scan it and see for like what any secrets it's holding. They want to give they want to have like a spoiler-free like thing without any leaks going around. I would say.
But one of the things
most likely they will definitely have another trailer if they, say something about Elden Ring.
But the thing is that I remember reading a source a while back is that Elden Ring is basically complete. Someone said, I can't remember the source, but the source said that Elden Ring was basically complete, and all From was doing right now is just ironing out any bugs that were in the games. Because as much as we like to say like how good the Souls series is, we have to say that they can be a bit buggy sometimes, right, guys?
Little is an understatement, but also, see, this is the thing. I think for the
You're
most
making
part,
it sound like as if it's glitchy as Skyrim, and
it's not glitchy as Skyrim, not by any means, but there are still some exploits and some bugs that are just.
No, Dark Souls is the glitch epitome.
We live in the age of Bethesda games.
I still play Skyrim.
Watch right in that Imperial ambush. Same as us, and that glitch over there.
I still play Skyrim. I think this is also a good time to say that. I didn't want to say it because I didn't think it was. But I am currently working on a mod for Skyrim. For those who don't know.
Ooh.
Yes.
Shh, no spoilers.
Oh, I'm not working on the main story. That's someone else. That's another team.
No, he's not working on a Skyrim mod at all.
Oh.
I had the funniest quest in Skyrim ever.
Oh, well, do tell.
I walked into a forest, met a talking dog. As I started talking to the dog,
yes.
I heard a dragon approach,
Oh.
so I tried to get out of the conversation. The dragon lands right next to the dog, picks up the dog with its wing, and flings it into the sky away from me, and it just said "quest complete."
So the dog was probably like, please.
Well, that Major Prank son ain't getting his half anymore.
End my suffering, please, traveler.
Please help me get to my master. He left me. We are in an argument.
But yes, that's pretty funny. I'm somehow unlucky that's never happened to me.
You're the Alduiner. Yay!
But yes,
bro. What if the Dragonborn was a dog? I feel like that you just be like, oh, look at the little.
The game
puppy.
would be a lot more weird.
True. It would be very up there as one of those the weirdest games of all time.
Barking people off cliffs.
Yes. Oh, there's anyway, back to Elden Ring. So, like I said, I remember reading that article about how Elden Ring is basically done, and all From are doing, and like I said before, was just ironing out any bugs or anything that was just causing problems. And So
that may be true, but leaks are mostly wrong at times and such.
there's some reliability to them.
Well, yeah, but more often than not, it's better to wait for it than it is to hear, I would say, leaks and such. Because the thing is, leaks are bound to change. And even if it is finished, they're probably adding more stuff to it. Because they're most likely test running it and such.
So we're setting the roadmap for the DLC expansion pack content.
We should expect.
I would say
the
so.
Artorias expansion pack on Elden Ring. We're gonna slap them in there, have you guys buy it all over again, except in Elden Ring physics.
As long as they don't turn it into a live game, we should be fine.
Anyway, you're gonna say something.
No.
Darc wanted to say something.
Oh, I can talk now. All right, thanks. So, I do understand what you mean, like with all this Saints Row stuff, but
Saint Seiya.
yeah, that yes, thank you.
Wrong series.
Whatever, same shit. You know what I meant. Anyways, so I understand a lot, but I would say I'm still not really that convinced and such, because there's still a lot more that I don't know what's going on in the story and such. Like, when did it debut, and did it what were the behind-the-scenes stuff, if you don't mind me asking?
What do you mean?
Like, what year was Saint Seiya released?
Saint Seiya was released in 1986.
Yep, it was before I was even born.
It's
Yeah,
the same
1986.
year I was born.
Wow.
So, question: do you think we could ask Miyazaki if he likes that show, or if he hey, do you like that show?
There is one reference to it in a design interview where he's talking about Kirk. The original design for Kirk was going to be based on the Hydra Spectre. And I'm saying the original because if we put them together next to each other right now, they don't look anything alike.
I think what was that crystal? Oh, that crystal! That crystal shield that threw like a ring or something. Wasn't that a reference to Ultraman?
Ultraman. That's an Ultraman reference.
Yeah, that little crystal thing.
Wait, hold on. Say that again?
Oh, in Dark Souls. In Dark Souls 1, I never was able to get that shield because it was always... I was never able to get that shield. Never.
It's a boss weapon shield you
Yes.
get from the
Moonlight Butterfly.
Moonlight Butterfly, yeah.
Ah, yes, then I never... that's why I never heard of... That's why I never found it. I never could figure it out. It was from that one particular boss. Anyway, the shield basically had this... I've seen it on YouTube. Had an alternate attack where if you press the L2 button, it threw like a ring. And I know in the Ultraman series, I've never watched the original. I did watch the Netflix one. I'm planning on doing the review. Spoilers. And
You mean the buzzsaw attack that Ultraman uses?
Yeah, that attack. That's a reference.
Yep.
That is
I
a...
think his mind's blown.
An Ultra fan, I am finding this very confused.
Okay. Miyazaki. Miyazaki wanted to put a weapon or something in that was a reference to Ultraman. Now they had trouble doing that thing because they couldn't figure out what to do. So someone decided to give it to a shield, but Miyazaki wasn't happy about that. That shield was an Ultraman reference.
Yeah, there's the red and white shield that has the Ultraman pattern on it.
Shoot!
It's a wooden shield in Dark Souls 1. It has the pattern of Ultraman's suit on it.
Mm-hmm.
All I gotta say is, I think Miyazaki's just a big memer. Like, he's just probably like, lol, what did I watch yesterday? Oh, I watched Berserk. Okay, put in Gut Sword. Okay, what else did I watch?
But mostly these days, it's just a Berserk one big Berserk reference. In Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 was just one big Berserk reference.
My
Yeah.
brain hurts.
Oh, don't be like that. Your brain doesn't hurt. You're just surprised.
No, your brain doesn't hurt. It's just that you never had one.
Oh, ha ha ha! They're funny.
Are you okay, Darc? Is everything all right over there?
I'm fine, dude. I'm fine.
I know he's just messing with me as usual.
Does he just I'm like, he like.
I can
I'm
take
like, hey.
I can take a joke with a 10.
Hey, to be fair, if you guys want to like duke it out, I got some non-real swords and like some padding. If you guys,
I'll take 20.
Can I just have a big mace just to clobber him?
Do you want to send him to horny jail?
What? Where did that come about?
What does that have to do with what? What?
Calm down. Anyway, I was actually thinking, remember when Cyberpunk 2077 came out last year, guys? What a disaster!
You mean the Keanu Reeves game that they had to use him to like front it?
Yes, that one. The Keanu Reeves games. I hope his name isn't copyrighted or striked on my channel. Take a deep breath, Darc. Take a deep breath.
He needs some milk. Darc needs some milk.
He needs some milk.
Quick, you know that one popular milk commercial from the States? I've only seen it on YouTube. Like, got milk.
Milk.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of Mimi milk commercials, not gonna lie.
But there was
there's many iterations of that.
Yeah, but do you know one where the guy had a big, like a cookie in his mouth and he couldn't answer the phone, but even though he knew the question to it?
No, that wasn't a cookie. That was a peanut butter sandwich, and it was basic. Yeah, did you actually know it was actually directed by Michael Bay?
I was gonna say that. Michael Bay directed that one. You beat me to my own punch.
Explode in that one.
Not a single thing.
Yeah, apparently that one was the best one because it was a Christopher Columbus or something like that, and he like oh, and the guy on the phone was like, what? And then there's nothing. Okay, we'll just go to the next hour. God, milk.
I was going to say that one was directed by Michael Bay, and the one thing that hasn't exploded in his movies. Anyway, the point I was going to try to say is that I like the comparison when Elden Ring and Cyberpunk were basically... They were announced in similar times, weren't they? Like, the latest trailers were announced at the same E3, correct?
2019,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah. I kind of like the fact, you know how people like, CD Projekt Red were just hyping the game up as the time went on. Oh, it's going to be the biggest game we've ever made. Bigger than even The Witcher 3. It's going to have all these...
It's going to even have bigger glitches.
It's going to have all these cool little things that you could do, like replacements, blah, 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 blah. They kept hyping the game up. They kept hyping it. Delays upon delays upon delays. Until it finally released, and it was a big glitchy mess, right? I think
it was big, all right. A big flop.
Yeah, and so one thing I actually like is compare this to Elden Ring for two little minutes. Elden Ring was announced. From said that the game will be out soon. They never gave a specific time or date, and so hype for this game, Elden Ring, is still coming out, and. At this point, it might as well just be like, it might as well be the second coming of Christ at this point, because of how people are just hyping the Elden Ring. Oh, it's going to be one of the best From Software games ever made. It's going to be
one of the
best.
That's a bad thing. It's a sad. I don't know. Bloodborne, see, out of all of them, even though I'm a Demon Souls fanboy, because it was my first game I played, Bloodborne's my favorite, but if you can top Bloodborne's just the most put together in my opinion, but
yeah,
one thing I will say, right? One thing I will definitely say about Elden Ring, I definitely always make jokes of the fact that they already finished the game. They just need the item descriptions from J.R.R. Martin, and he's, takes forever to write them. So it's like the game would be there, but it's like, oh, we're playing the game. Hey, let's look at the lore behind this weird sword I found. It's just blank. It's like J.R.R. Martin, get on your rocker, write this out.
Crazy.
No, it's not blank.
It's the size of a Bible. It's just blank pages.
Eminem, you wanted to say something?
It's not blank pages. It's Miyazaki being angry at Martin for not being finished writing. Like,
yeah, it's a comic instead. It's just them arguing nonstop.
There would be a cool description here, but he still hasn't written it.
How about this? That maybe they announced that Elden Ring is connected to the Songs of Ice and Fire series. That's why it's taking forever.
It's a sure way to kill it.
Time out. Bro, what if they say it's tied to the Netflix Game of Thrones series? I'll just be like,
Wait, what?
Season 8.
Wait,
I'll
wait,
be like, no.
wait, what? They're doing a Netflix Game of Thrones?
Always pays his debts.
No, I'm saying, what if Elden Ring is tied to not Elden Ring? If Elden Ring is tied to Game of Thrones Season 8, the floppy season from that show?
That would be funny. Who knows? Maybe
the sky is burning because of these bad edits that we did to the script. I made a double joke.
A good double joke, by the way. That was very good. It's just like baffled. It's just like we've waited 3 years at the 2 years at this point, 2 whole years for Dark Souls. And when was like thinking about it, like when Bloodborne was released, it was called Project Beast, correct? It was called Project Beast.
Initially, yes.
Yeah. And when did the trailer roughly come out? 2014, 2014-ish?
I don't even remember when that trailer came out. I just remember Umbasa. That's like the only thing I remember.
Oh, that came out at the trailers, but that was just basically fans just sneaking out of the playable area and fighting Escoine early.
Demon Souls sequel, Umbasa.
That was a fun.
Frothing at the mouth.
You two? Any thoughts?
Speaking of that noise, Gollum game, is it like something for the Gollum game?
Yes, it shall be the precious.
It's like I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe a Lord of the Rings Souls-like, because we're getting so many a franchise that I never thought that we talked about last week getting a Souls-like was just basically. What's the word I'm looking for?
The Final Fantasy getting us Souls-like, and you're like, hey, guess what? Darc's already.
Okay, Emlyn, if you this last trailer, but last week, but you probably saw it, but. Darc's Final Fantasy of all series is getting a Souls-like.
Star Wars already got a Souls-like, so I mean, at some point, I think Barbie's gonna get a Souls-like.
I would play that. Imagine playing as Ken, except instead of Ken, like
I'm a Barbie girl in this world.
Yep, that's
like it's plastic. It's not fantastic.
I made a joke thinking, you know what, they did Final Fantasy Souls-like. It's like supposed to be taken like a remake called Final Fantasy Origins. Supposedly it's taking the first and the second Final Fantasy game, if we remember reading from that article. It's just basically redoing them in Souls-like fashion. That's gonna be lovely.
I bet you for a DLC they're gonna add Sephiroth and Cloud.
They're gonna do it because Sephiroth, he's every single girl's I don't even know the word. He's like every single girl's dream guy.
No. Okay, everyone in the Smash community, we don't want any more sword characters. Sephiroth, allow me to introduce myself. We'll make it accepted for you. Nobody complained. Nobody. He's literally a big sword dude. And it's Sephiroth. He's like, no matter what, we don't want any more edgy sword characters, but he's on a pedestal. He's like above our expectations, so we can't get mad at him.
Yes, and like
it must be all that hair.
Yes, and like I said, like Darc said, which one of you two said it? They're gonna. I think it was Green. They're gonna add. They're gonna somehow, because they like to sneak Final Fantasy VII to any game they make somewhere or somehow. They like to put Final Fantasy as a little reference. I'm gonna play
Astro game.
Maybe
there's like so much.
Maybe Sephiroth's sword and his clothes will be there. Maybe they'll even put a wig in there for the fun of it. Basically describe that this.
You need a poster of just like his pectorals and his abs and like just no context. Just like a strand of like silver hair coming down.
I have
just like a fangirl poster. You'd be like, we know it's not. We're not saying it's Sephiroth, but
I wouldn't know.
Who could this be?
This is
that Final Fantasy character?
This is his brother, Sephiroth.
Look, my friend's playing the Kingdom Hearts 3 game, and I'm just waiting for the Sephiroth secret boss to come up. I'm like, oh, hello, Sephiroth. How are you doing in Kingdom Hearts again?
The only Kingdom Hearts game.
The only Kingdom Hearts I've only played 2 Kingdom Hearts games: Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 5 days / 3-6. The Nintendo DS one.
Oh.
No.
Oh no. Yes, I played the 2. I played only 2 Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts games, and I know nothing about it. It's one of I don't get why. Okay, exception to one game, I've never completed a single Square Enix game. I never completed Final Fantasy X. I never completed Final Fantasy 15, and I was close to finishing 15. I was literally at the end, but I just said, give up. And I haven't touched Final Fantasy 7 in almost 2 months because I was so busy.
The part 1 of the remake? Isn't part 2 coming out sometime?
Yep.
Wait, there's a second part of Final Fantasy Remake?
Yep. Apparently.
Yeah, they split into 2 games.
Jesus Christ, how fucking long is this shit?
Actually, no. It's going to be an episodic game. It's going to be an episodic.
Like the Telltale Midgar,
so. Sorry, Emily?
They only did Midgar, so they've got a whole lot left to go.
3 discs worth.
This is a Telltale game?
Yes. I don't know why. I don't know why Square decided to just split the games
up. Is this game made by Valve?
No. Enix. I never liked Square Enix as a company. I never liked their games, honestly. I don't like Square.
All the K-pop fans are going to come to this video and be like, dislike spam.
They probably are. I'm gonna get some ladies who are gonna watch this right now, and they're gonna hate me because they hate it if anybody criticizes Final Fantasy. It's a great series with great characters. I'm just sitting here wondering, do they have to have so many cutscenes and constantly explain? It's like Square is so averse to making a game, instead they want to make movies. Wait, they do make movies. It's just those Final Fantasy movies are just horrible.
They have Final Fantasy movies. Wait, so we all want to say, wait, they want to make movies. They do.
Yes, then they should just stick. Then maybe they should just stick to the movies, because I watched the prequel to Final Fantasy 15. You know, the movie to the prequel one and all that, blah 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 blah. It's like, so this. I was confused when I watched it. Like, huh? What's going on here?
When you have to watch like 5 videos to explain what is going on in every, like, what is going on in this scene? It's like, okay, someone else.
No, it's just the problem issue, and I'm gonna get so many possibly down the line. It's just that people who like Final Fantasy, I could get the games, but I can never understand 2 things. Number 1, there's so much dialogue that it makes Hideo Kojima blush, and that's saying something. Yes, Hideo Kojima can go talk. Yes, I make that bold statement, everyone. The Final Fantasy series has way more cutscenes and way more dialogue than the Metal Gear series. That's saying something. Yes, I'm going to say that I know what people are going to say. Metal Gear Solid 4 had the longest video game ending in record history. In video game history.
Oh my gosh.
It was 1 hour long. The ending was 1 hour long.
No.
Orlin, how are you doing?
Don't bring that up. I was like, is it finally over? No!
But the text, I know that people, I know it's just that, but Hideo Kojima's writing is actually kind of funny, and how what's the word I'm looking for? It's funny in a good way. Like, his writing is funny, but I always have the issue that Final Fantasy's dialogue is just blah, 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 point this, blah, 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 point that. Like, take, for example, Final Fantasy Remake. Oh, we've got the environment this, the environment that, blah, 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 blah. I get the point. You don't have to make the point. You're an eco-terrorist, you're an eco-activist group who basically want to save your planet from destruction. Point made. Don't need to repeat it a zillion times.
Yeah, that darn electric company, right, is trying to take over the world again. Imagine that happened in real life. Imagine if, like, whatever like electric company you have just decides, hey, we're gonna make super soldiers and take over the world. How about that? Anyone else gonna complain?
I'm never turning on my lights again.
Emily, your thoughts?
This is fun.
No, my
This is
podcast.
fine. This is fine.
I like to think my podcasts are fun because this is the time where I can rant with other nerds about like game. Like we like most of the time, like we do have topics we talk about, but we just talk about like our likes, our dislikes, and just what happens in the week and what happened before. So the whole podcast is, yes, we do have time. We do try to have. I'm trying to make more linear topics so we can focus on like we did last week and we did for today. But I want to just, we also like to splurge out after a while, just like talk random things like video games and whatnot. You know, just have anime. That was a thing. We also talk anime every now and again.
And you were just pointing out the truth that all power electric companies are run by Palpatine.
Yes.
Do it. Okay. Speaking of Palpatine, I don't know if you guys like the new movies, the sequels.
No.
Let me tell you, I love the final sequel movie. Not because it's any good writing or anything, but because Palpatine is literally a meme fest of his prequels, of the prequel version. And he's like, do it. The dark side is the best way to be. I was like, you know what the prequel. I literally was screaming.
Hang on, you're talking.
Electrocuted himself again.
Okay, hang on. By prequels, do you mean the 1, 2, 3 or the 6 movie?
So in 9, he references Revenge of the Sith quotes. He like literally says, so like, do it. And the dark side is best with me abilities to make. It's like, was he really doing this?
Well, that's like remember I did show an article on this very chat about how basically people said that the movie the sequels were just horrible.
Look, I love the sequels because how are you going to bring prequel memes into this? And like, how are you going to honestly take prequel Palpatine memes and make them an actual part of the script? Like,
I'm gonna stick by what I said, that Legends was the better one, and not Disney's corporate-owned canon.
How are you gonna take a multi-million-dollar franchise and have two directors have a dick fight over whose story is gonna be followed?
How about this? Controversial idea, guys. How about you have one director who simply just plans out what he wants to do for the movies, instead of having one director who has one vision, another who has another vision, and for the final one,
Dave Filoni.
Yes, and then two directors who basically had one director was writing it, dropped, and then one of them returned to basically finish off a half-baked mess. I don't know.
You mean be practical? I mean, if you've not seen these Disney remake movies, I mean,
don't get me started with those. I have my issue. People, look, I like
our kingdom.
I don't like
your CGI, your kingdom.
I don't like Cinderella because it basically butchers the original. The original was never meant to be complex or deep. It was just a simple story of an abusive mother, an abusive stepmother, and basically just trying to metaphorically spread your wings and be free from said abusive stepmother. This one, convenient, and I think Nostalgia Critic actually made a good point when doing this. Yes, I brought him up. That how in the original Cinderella was basically trapped as a child. Trapped in a child with her abusive stepmother, but in the remake, she wasn't even abused when she was a child. She was abused when an adult, when she had the perfect opportunity to leave that abusive home and start somewhere else. And the excuse, and I will hate this excuse till the end of time, is saying, "I made a promise to my father." Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but if you're being abused by two horrible person, I think your own personal health should be more important. Yes.
Than that.
Yes. Than a promise.
Agree. Shoot. Speaking of horrible people, hey Disney. We need to make a backstory for some villain character in some previous movies.
Cruella de Vil?
Let's give it to the dog murderer. What? Yeah, let's give a tragic backstory to the lady that wants to kill hundreds of puppies.
Wait,
what?
You know Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, one of my personal favorites. Imagine them doing a prequel for him.
See, at least he's like a dude who's like I can see him getting like sort of like a backstory more so than Puppy Killer 9000. I mean, I can see him.
Puppy Killer 9000.mv1.
Yes. Let me think. Oh, what? Speaking like I. Okay, there are two movies I am dreadfully worrying they're going to remake into live-action adaptations. One of them was actually my favorite when I was a child, and the other one I have some nostalgia to. Like, I don't like... Pocahontas, that one's going to be a headache to do. No, they're not going to touch it.
You know what they're going to do with Pocahontas? They're going to be like John Smith. Oh, yeah, he's like he's a racist white man who took Pocahontas away from her culture. And now he needs to be, he's going to be mansplaining, and he's going to be... It's going to be bad. Okay, I don't want to look at that. I'm looking away. I'm going, not looking at that.
The two movies I'm worried about is Treasure Planet. Remember that old treasure?
Oh, yes, that one.
No, don't touch it.
Yes, don't touch that movie, Disney. Treasure Planet was one of, if not the best animated movies you ever made. Do not butcher it. I will review Treasure Planet. It's cheap on Amazon. I can get like a copy of it, Blu-ray for it pretty cheap, and I would love to review it. But do not touch Treasure Planet.
I don't shoot. Just come with me, and I can tell you and show you, and you can see. Because I got friends on the other side.
Not the Princess Frog. That's not even old enough to be remade.
Don't test them on that. Don't test them on how old something has to be remade.
Okay. The other one, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I liked that movie when I was a kid.
You know what they're going to make it? They're going to focus on a lot of... Because remember, the main character is a dude who has disabilities and a gypsy. You know they're going to run with that and be like ableism. Also, race. They're going to run with. You know that. That's how they do it. That's how they're going to go. They're going to be like, we got a person of color doing this. I mean, okay. Look, I'm sorry. As a black person, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like racist or anything, but I really don't care. Like I play Dark Souls. I like. Oh man, there's not many black people in Dark Souls. I don't. If you have a good backstory, I like what you do. I mean, that's what I care more than just like your pigmentation is like my color. You have.
Speaking of Disney movies, remember those when we were kids and we could identify with dinosaurs and stuff?
Oh yes, I love the Land Before Times until they milked the franchise to oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, but
and oblivion. Yeah, they're just making the Mayroon's Dagon.
I'm not a dinosaur, and I get it.
I understand Littlefoot on a personal level. Littlefoot is like Littlefoot. I understand where you're coming from, Littlefoot. I don't care. You're not a human. You're like a pink apatosaurus, but I know where you're coming from.
I always love you.
Another thing that I always like, one other thing. I never, going back to Treasure Planet for 2 seconds, do you know why the movie flopped?
It was too complicated for people.
No, it's because Disney purposely didn't market it, because it was the time when Disney was moving away from 2D animation to 3D animation. So
this is when they stole Pixar.
Yeah.
Bought Pixar.
Yeah.
Bought Pixar.
So bought. So the reason, why Treasure Planet failed so badly, because if it was properly advertised and there was better word of mouth, I guarantee you Treasure Planet would have been one of the best movies Disney ever made, but now it's like a cult. It's like a cult classic, and I hate that it's like that. But if Disney didn't butcher it and just suffocated it under other movies, because they released it during the winter, not the spring or summer, and you know when movies are released in the winter, it's gonna flop. It's gonna flop.
Yeah, when they saw the two, they're like, "Let it burn."
Don't sing otherwise. Hey, just stop it, Darc. You might get me copyright strike for music. I don't need that headache.
Yeah, sorry.
Didn't they do the same thing to Atlantis?
Atlantis? I thought Disney actually had hopes for that one because they actually released a series of it. Like a 3-part movie series. I actually watched it when I was a kid. They actually was hoping that Atlantis was this weird story about a guy named Milo who was just basically trying to find the lost city of Atlantis to clear his grandfather's good name.
Yeet.
It flopped.
Yeah. Also because not a lot of commercial power behind it.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing a lot of trailers for it and stuff. It just
it
sort
did
of released.
Well, I think Disney also had some second hopes because later on they released a 3-part movie because when it has 3 parts in it, it's gonna be a movie. You know how Disney are, where they basically release a 3-parter to test the waters for an actual series. They did it with Hercules. That one.
Hercules has a 3-part movie series?
Yes.
Wait, what?
It has a 3-part movie. It was the movie. The movie was just basically discussing about what would Hercules do during his school life.
Oh, we're talking about along came Zeus, he hurled his that one.
Yeah, that Hercules, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, they did
Really?
Yeah, they did a direct-to-movie DVD. They do that for when they want to make series out of their movies.
Look, the only Disney series I watched religiously was Lilo and Stitch.
Gargoyles.
Yep,
no,
Gargoyles.
okay, I can agree with that.
Gargoyles wins.
Yeah.
I have to get the DVD box set of that animation and watch it and review it because I think it's one of those underrated classics, don't you think?
No, agreed.
How's this word work? Jalapeno.
Jalapeno. There's so many movies.
It's a gargoyle reference.
It's been so long since I watched that TV show that I actually forgot most of it. I remember Goliath and how the gargoyles were basically cursed by the wizard because bandits raided their castle that they lived in. The gargoyles defended them, but they cursed the gargoyles and destroyed most of them, leaving a handful left. So Goliath, wishing not to would leave his brethren, asked the wizard to curse him the same way. And the curse is that the castle has to rise above the sky to touch the clouds for the curse to be broken. So a rich philanthropic billionaire basically did what the legend told. He took the castle, like the whole castle, and put it on top of a big skyscraper just to see if the legend was true, breaking the curse, and the gargoyles awoke after centuries of slumber. I'm actually surprised I remember that much.
To be fair, this sounds this reminds me of in the Yu-Gi-Oh series, Kaiba's I am a multi-trillion-dollar man. I'm going to build a poorly underworld just to duel somebody in a children's card game. What? Yeah, you heard me, Yami. I'm coming for your butt in the underworld. I'm going to stick all my money.
Disappointing, Yugi, but you activated my trap card.
That one. I should get a Yugi tuber on my podcast. Don't you think, guys?
I appreciate it. I would appreciate that.
I think I've got a couple. I think I have a couple of people in mind that I could get on my podcast.
Look, but that premise you said of just putting a castle on a skyscraper, I feel how expensive that would be. It's you're just doing it just for flexing at this point. Imagine if you have money like that just to flex like that. You just be I need to survive. I barely could pay my mortgage. I put a castle on a skyscraper and I built a portal to the underworld just to play some children's card game with ancient Egyptian pharaoh.
It's living in California.
And that Yu-Gi-Oh movie, that that movie was actually only canon to the manga, not to the anime.
Mm-hmm.
So hang on. I think I have his cards in my. Oh, phooey. Oh, there they are. Give me a second.
He's pulling out his deck.
Yes,
Summoning his white dragon.
Yes, I have.
Oh, no.
Give me a second.
He's going to send us to the Shadow Realm.
Nope. What was the author? Kazuki Takahashi. I forgot his name for 2 minutes. I was just grabbing one of my cards to basically remind me his name. But yes, Kazuki's movie was actually only canon to the manga, as way of just wrapping up the original Yu-Gi-Oh series with a nice neat bow. So I think that's why it was one of the better written Yu-Gi-Oh movies, because they do tend to flop a little bit. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Pyramid of Light, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time. I know there was a third Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie set in the original, or was that the movie? That was the movie.
There's a couple more with Yugi.
Of course, because Yugi. But anyway, my Yu-Gi-Oh preferences aside, and I promise you guys, I will try to get a Yu-Gi tuber on this podcast. So feel free to ask him any questions. I'll be quiet on that one.
Look, I just want to know the logistics of 5Ds and like riding on motorcycles while playing. Like, I activate my and then blows in the wind. Be like, oh,
I just want to learn how to play the damn game. Everyone's making all these rules and such, and they're like, I'm like, oh.
5Ds is my favorite, though.
I can agree. You, my friend, are now my favorite friend on my podcast. You are my favorite. 5Ds was the best written in the series.
Yep.
Well, time to go on the coffin. All right, see you later.
Yeah, see you later.
Oh, man. You know, it makes me wish that in Elden Ring there's going to be like a little boss battle where instead of like fighting the boss, you're going to like play them in like a card game. If that is in there,
A card game on horseback.
right?
Hey, there's supposed to be horseback combat in Elden Ring, from what I understand.
Oh no.
Yes.
This is why they have to delete. This is why they have to delay the game, because you remember all the previous games that had horse combat, the horse would glitch out and like fly off like everything. They're like,
what, Skyrim?
Skyrim, right? Okay, guys, what do we not want? The horse to be a spider and walk up sheer cliffs. Okay, we can't have that. Let's test this. Okay.
Spider horse does whatever a horse can. Can he swing from a web? No, he's not. He's a horse.
Yeah. Imagine the PvP invasions. Imagine just walking around like getting invaded by 5 people all chasing you down on horseback. I'll just be like...
Like it must be like a scene out of an anime.
Get over that terrain. They're climbing all the walls. Jesus Christ!
I need to
You're
put,
standing on top of a castle.
I need to start
You're
putting
like, oh, it's going to take me a while.
I start to
It's going to take me a while.
I need to start making... I need to start making a disclaimer. Please be careful. Do not wear headphones when listening to this podcast sometimes.
Sorry.
I just imagine just in the invaders, just like, oh, the invaders like below on the castle floor. They're not going to get me. They're just riding up on a horse. You'd be like, this mofo.
Skyrim players be like, ha 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 ha.
I still like one of my favorite.
Plane. No, it's a Pegasus.
Actually, one of my favorite facts about how the Souls came about was that basically Sony wanted a game that could rival Oblivion, so they asked From, and From thought, let's remake one of our old classics. I don't know, Kingsfield, and let's make it a first-person open-world game like Skyrim. Oblivion. Sorry. Yeah, that's always been my favorite. Then Miyazaki came along and changed it to a third-person action-adventure Souls-like. Boom, the genre.
Wait, wouldn't it not be Souls-like if it was the grandfather of Souls?
Technically, yes, because, technically, Miyazaki did get a lot of references from, the Mushroom Men from Dark Souls 1?
Yeah.
Oh, you have not seen me...
Oh, you mean Captain takes your health? Yes, I know that, man.
The thing is...
One Punch.
Yes. Those mushrooms were actually in a Kingsfield game once before.
I believe it.
It's true.
Oh, so that's why they do so much damage.
There's also the fact that the Serpent Men were also in Kingsfield. Yeah,
the Serpent Men. I know Seath, the Scaleless, except he looked more like Calamite, was in there.
Yes.
He looked, after I was done with him, he more looked
No,
Calamari.
Seath was actually more upright, more humanoid. It was the Black Dragon that looked more like Kama, that looked more like Calamite.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Black Dragon that looked like Calamite. It was the Seath, the White Dragon, looked more humanoid.
Yeah.
And then we all know...
Also Moonlight Greatsword,
Oh, yes.
It's like, hello, nice to see you here.
Oh, I can't wait to see the reference for that in Elden Ring. Like, how are you going to get that?
Reference? You say the reference, but you mean the thing. It's just going to be the thing.
Oh, maybe it'll be like Bloodborne, where it's just added on by a DLC. Oh, the most...
No. Not allowed to do that again. I'm going to slap you in the wrist. Everyone's like, the Ludwig's only blade is the Moonlight Greatsword, because it's not in the game. And then Ludwig came, you're like... The best, don't ever do that again, but the DLC was the best introduction. When it fell off his shoulder, you're like...
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I get the music composer Alex onto this podcast, feel free to ask him any questions. He's the guy who does the breakdowns on musics. He did Ludwig's theme, and I talked to him on Twitter, and he says not like now, but later this year, maybe the winter part. He said he'd happily join my podcast.
Ooh, that's nice to hear.
Indeed.
Oh my goodness.
If he joins my podcast, you two get to ask as many questions as you like.
I'm gonna be like,
become obsolete and not referenced at all. Also,
I would be like, what is the Latin translation of all the themes in Bloodborne? Tell me, what is the other
what
name?
are the winning lottery tickets?
Oh my goodness.
It's interesting that one other thing before we end this podcast, because we've been almost here for 2 hours. Yeah, it's
Oh dang.
It's almost like almost 1 o'clock for me, and it's probably really late for him. So I'm just gonna say this, that I love Dark Souls' uses of Latin, but then again, a lot of games that have horror themes in them use Latin a lot, and I do find that interesting. I guess it's
the Roman Empire was pretty scary in its heyday.
And the fact that, in my personal opinion, Latin has a simple...
That Caesar salad guy.
Caesar salad guy.
Latin has an oomph to it when you speak it. Take it from me.
Honestly, any language that's not English has an oomph to it. But then, like, you go to Japan and you speak English, you're like, wow, that character is cool because he speaks English. You're like,
yes,
so
I saw clips of Revi from Black Lagoon. Planning on reviewing it, I promise you. It was funny one episode when they went to Japan, she actually spoke English, and my God, it was actually not that bad compared to other...
It wasn't that bad. You speak English? I was like, wait, is that supposed to be cool?
I don't know. And anyway, and I think that's it. Yeah, it's getting pretty late for the both of us, and I presume for you, Emlyn, I appreciate my co-hosts, Darc and Green. Always a pleasure, and thank you to special guest Emlyn. I'm sorry, and thank you for starting off with that interesting conception of.
Wait, what? What do you say?
That interesting concept, the connections between Dark Souls and Saint Seiya, the themes and the connections between the way the works are. Very interesting, and I thank you for that. It was a special. Thank you for being a special guest tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Can I come out of the coffin now?
Yes, you can come out of the coffin, and you better do before I hammer all the nails. Anyway.
Oh,
put the nail in the coffin.
Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this, I'm very much appreciated. I'm glad people actually watch my podcast. If you feel like it, feel free to join my Discord down below. Links to my Twitter and my Patreon. Subscribe to my channel, and also subscribe to these guys' channels as well. Knight makes excellent Dark Souls martial arts content. He's simply one of the best I've seen. And Darc actually makes...
I was about to say, I'm like about 100 plus away from 1,000. If I get to 1,000, I'm redoing Owl's. Not redoing. I'm remaking Owl Father's moveset in real life, and I'm actually going to be hiring actual ninjutsu practitioners to sort of be able to speak on it and actually replicate some of the more intricate stuff Owl does.
Then go quickly subscribe to him. I want to see that now. I want to see that. Go subscribe to him. And if you love comic dubs, Darc does excellent comic dubs, in my opinion. Some of the best on YouTube. Criminally underrated, in my opinion. Truly, I say that with a lot of heart from my heart. Truly underrated. Excellent comic dubs.
I'm so lonely.
And I'm going to be in one of his comic dubs soon enough. I'm voicing the Lord of Sunlight himself. I think I fit that role perfectly. And if you want to see more of Emlyn's theories, you want to say something before I...
I was about to say, I'm Hawkeye. I'm Hawkeye Giant.
I know.
Hawkeye G-Man.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
And if you want to see more more connections between Saint Seiya and Dark Souls, I laid the link down to Emlyn's channel. Give him a subscribe. I think it's important that we help each other out. And I have nothing more to add. I appreciate everybody for joining. It has been fun. And thank
you, Emlyn, for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You guys are welcome.
Mm-hmm. Can you before you guys go? I'd like to talk to you about something else. Just if that's okay, guys. Just you and me, Darc and Green for after the post show. But I appreciate everything. It was nice talking to you. Have a nice day, and may the good blood guide your way.
Umbasa.